As the God of the universe and creator of everything we know, and Jesus the carpenter, I can say that he is excellent at creation. But when you look at sales, I think Jesus was lacking a little bit. If he's trying to sell discipleship, the way he goes about it, he doesn't really present a great case, right? So he has all these followers, these crowds, these throngs of people that are following him, and he's trying to get them to kind of move up another step. Right? If you look at what's the difference between a disciple and a follower, I think a follower kind of, they're seeing what's going on, they're listening to Jesus, and to me, I think it's kind of like more of a one-on-one. It's like, okay, I have this personal relationship with Jesus. I listen to him. He motivates me. What he's saying means a lot to me and changes my heart. That's a follower, right? But then a disciple takes it one step further and says, I listen to Jesus, I have this personal relationship, but I want to help spread that word to other people. I want to take it to the next step and let the Lord work through me to work and to find other people that don't know about him. So that's a disciple in my mind, somebody that takes it to that next step. And Jesus is trying to sell this concept, right? The next step. Okay, you're all following me. You're all hoping for redemption. You're all hoping for all these things for yourself. But what's the next step? So how does he sell it? You have to hate everybody to be a disciple, right? You have to hate yourself, you have to hate your family, you have to hate this, you have to hate that, you have to give up all of your stuff. You have to carry a cross, which is, the symbol of torture and humiliation. You have to carry that, then you can be my disciple. So, who's going to want to do that, right? But why does he do that? Obviously, he doesn't want you to hate people. He wants you to love people. That's why he wants disciples. But what he's doing is he's naming the price and what the priorities have to be. It's like if you want to move to the next step and if you want to be a disciple, the priorities have to be completely rearranged in your life. He's trying to shake you out of your comfort zone of a follower into a discipleship. The priorities then become God, and in reality, your family, your friends, and everybody all around you, your strangers, the people you don't know, the homeless person, the people in prison, the people that are sick, then you're on the bottom. Your priority is on the bottom of the list. That's the cross that you have to carry in order to be a disciple. So he's trying to make sure that people know what this is all about. What is the price? Are you willing to take this price? And he uses the analogy of the building of the tower. So all of us as reasonable people would say, okay, I want to build a tower or a house or whatever you want to build. Let's make sure we have the money for it first, right? Because you don't want to build a house and not have a roof on it. Or, you get the walls and this, and you have this beautiful, huge house, but you have no furniture because it's completely empty and you ran out of resources. So the motivation would be, I don't want people to laugh at me and say, well, he didn't even have a roof on his house. What was he thinking? So people need to kind of lay it out, right? Is this a price I'm willing to pay? Is this something I want to do? And the same thing with the king. Should I go into battle? I only have half the number of troops that they have. They're all well-trained. They're all motivated. They're ready to go. But can I win this battle? And as an earthly person, we would say, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe it's more reasonable to go out and try to declare peace first before, we lose all these resources and lives and people, and once again, you get humiliated in the eyes of the world. So you go out ahead of time and you plan. And you try to make the best of your plans. But in the first reading, we hear that the plans of God are beyond anything that we can comprehend. And that ties into this with, once you're a disciple, you're no longer doing the work of earthly things. You're no longer doing things the way that we do. But you're doing, as a disciple, you're working for God, and God is working through you. So all of a sudden, all those planning, everything goes out the window. You don't care about the tower anymore. It's not yours to plan. It's not, well, what is God's plan, and I'm going to put the parapet on and all this stuff. It's not your plan anymore. You're an instrument for that construction project. So if it's not complete, if you do your part and you don't complete it, it's like, well, I tried. I did the best I could. God helped me. God worked through me to do this. And if people laugh, so what? I was doing God's work. They're going to laugh at you. When you're out there proclaiming the word and you're living a life as a Christian, which is completely contrary to the life that we have in the world right now, people are going to laugh at you. They're going to say, you're crazy, you're nuts. But who cares? You're building the tower. You're working for God. You're building the things that God wants. The same thing with defeat. You go out there and you do the best you can. You're praying and hoping for change in the world and the end of abortion and all this kind of stuff, and you lose battle after battle after battle. But you don't care because you're doing God's work, because you're now a disciple. It's no longer you. It's no longer your interests. It's God working through you to change the world. Now, why do we need disciples? It's like, okay, everybody's Christian, right? We all know this. I've talked about this in other homilies where the U.S. used to be a Christian nation, right? We could assume everybody was a Christian. In the last few years, Bishop Ricken has started this new initiative called Missionary Discipleship, because he came to realize that, and many bishops in the United States, that we're really not a Christian nation anymore. In fact, we're considered a mission field. We used to take priests from here and send them out to the world as missionaries and spread the gospel throughout the world. Now priests are coming the other way. We're getting priests from Africa and South America because we don't have enough here. The mission is out in our own neighborhoods, in our backyards. How many people do you meet at work and in daily encounters that really don't know Christ? Or they don't know what the story is. They don't know what the big deal is. They don't know what salvation is and what love is and what forgiveness really is, because they don't know Christ. So our bishop wants us all to be disciples. We're not all able to do that. We don't all make that call, but he wants us all to do that. He wants us all to give our lives to be disciples. In fact, we have these seminars, I guess you could call it, that we all go to. The whole parish staff has to go to. Priests and deacons have our own sessions where for 2 days we talk about what it means to be a disciple. Starting from the clergy and the staff and the church and working our way out, we have to reform ourselves. What does it mean to be a disciple? What does it mean to open ourselves to let God work through us to reach the people that aren't being reached? And it's something that we can all do. Being a disciple isn't standing on a corner with a Bible, yelling at people, telling them they're all going to hell and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's a disciple. I don't think that wins many converts. It scares people and, kind of maybe shuns them away a little bit. But if you're living your life as a true, authentic Christian, people will see that. If you're at work and you conduct yourself in a more ethical way, or you don't use the same language, or, God forbid, you pray at work, and you have signs of Christianity in your office, people will notice that. And if they have no faith or little faith, or they have fallen away from a church, it's amazing how many times little conversations will come up of, well, hey, what's that all about? Or what church do you go to? Or, questions of, well, I used to be this, that, or the other thing. And it just opens up this conversation. When you're open to being a disciple, when you're open to letting God work through you, he will put people in front of you that he wants to reach. And again, it's not us, it's not me, it's not Father, it's God working through us. That's what a disciple is. So it's not our plan. I don't go out every day and say, well, my goal today and my metrics, I'm going to have 5 people that I need to reach. And of those 5, I'm going to have a 70% conversion rate. It's not that at all. It's God using us in order to plant these seeds to help bring people back to the church, back to being a disciple. In our parish, we have a lot of disciples. We have a lot of people that are doing the work, visiting the sick, visiting prisons, just going out and teaching catechists. There's a lot of people, a lot of disciples in our church, and that's a great thing. But we need more. In reality, we need everybody. If this whole church was on fire for the Lord and went out and proclaimed his word, and we were all disciples, we would change the world, not just Greenville, not just Appleton, not just Wisconsin, but the whole world. So today in our Eucharist, when we receive the creator of the universe, when we receive the salesman who is selling us discipleship, open your heart. If you're in the follower stage and you feel, well, maybe I should go a little bit deeper, do that today. Why not? Open your heart and say, Lord, through the Eucharist, transform my life. Work through me. Help me to be an instrument for you. Help me to bring you to the rest of the world. And through that, we can all be salesmen. We can all sell discipleship. We can all sell the Lord. But not only that, we can live it and love it and feel that love. And throughout the way, maybe we can help save a few souls ourselves.